sign that there's like some real strength in the market. So the QQQs were gapping back up right into resistance, even after like that big kind of weakness yesterday. So we're right back where we started. So yesterday was just a little bit of a boogeyman. And even though the market was dropping yesterday, there was really no indication of like any selling. Like every stock was still breaking out. Like yesterday was the hottest day to trade probably in months. So today will probably suck because yesterday was so hot. That's how the gods make the stock market. Who knows? But every day you can always find something. We're back into resistance here in range. So we're just in the penis in between us. As long as we stay in this uptrend and we stay above this 90 EMA on the daily, we are still in bull market, aggressive trading to the long side. Even when the market's down, we're still shredding it to the downside, upside. It's Mr. Elliott, what's up, baby? What's going on? Hey, we meet up on Sunday? SPY, same type of deal. As you guys know, I like to use the QQQs more than the SPY for a specific reason, that we just trade more tech stocks than anything else. But we're right back at breakout spot over here too. So Fridays are always a little bit tricky. You know, there's a good shot that there's like, we get like 2 hours of action and then things just fizzle out. So if you're sitting during lunchtime and you're trying to like push out trades, just be mindful of like letting things consolidate. When you think of like day trading in general, remember that there's 3 different phases to the day, right? You have your open, which is about price volatility and price discovery, okay? Then midday is about retracement and consolidation. And then end of day, you choose a side, up or down, right? You get a power close, power fade, so on and so forth. But that middle is the chop zone, and that's where you can get yourself in trouble. I know, like myself, I mean, in our chat room for a decade, we always say it during lunch. We're like, here it goes. Because like you just take trades and you get so used to getting that opening volatility, and then you don't have it, and so you just start nicking yourself out. Minus 20 cents, minus 20 cents. You start burning up commissions. Before you know it, you faded like a third of your gains. So just be mindful. Like the open is where it's hot. The midday is not. End of the day can be a go. Sometimes it's a hoe. So let's talk a little bit about some of the earnings plays. This Twitter looks okay. You know, the key on this one's going to be like this, to hold this breakout spot. This thing trades super thick too. Like I don't anticipate myself taking a trade in this for the simple fact that, man, it trades like, it can trade thick. Like anybody ever trade AMD? Hey Hunter, what's up, baby? How are you? If you ever trade like AMD, you ever notice like it kind of just like grinds and you're like, it takes like an hour to get your 50 cents out of it. That's kind of how Twitter is. So I don't anticipate, unless the setup looks picture perfect and it holds over this breakout spot, for me to long it. I mean, it very well could even reverse off. This BYND is gapping up again. So like now, to me, this is more of like an exhaustion gap, meaning when you're at 6 days in a row, right? So how you trade, you know, like on a breakout, for example, on a breakout, like days 1s, days 2s are really kind of powerful, and they're a little bit low, they're much lower risk to the up, you know, to the downside. Once you get into day 5, day 6, if you start to gap out of it, then that can be an exhaustion gap. So if you're trying to long this thing, say you see like a strength setup, you see some type of flag or some type of ORB, but if you're on a day 6, the bottom can drop off real quick on those things, but it's also like a little bit early to short it too. So what typically will happen is it'll flush down and kind of suck in shorts and then ramp back up. So like on a extended momentum stock, especially one that's got liquidity and volume, what you want to do is stay away from hitting it, longing it on strength, and you want to stay away from shorting it at lows, essentially, right? You're going to have to change the mindset of how you trade. When you're an extended stock, you can only buy these things off supports and stuff like that. Like you'll see even BYD yesterday, right? It was fine. If you started to see it like come, near highs, it wouldn't do it. But like you could scoop them up off lows and supports. It holds supports really well. And then you just want to be selling into spikes. But like if you try to buy it on strength, it'll just dip back down and hit some support and then go. So you just got to change the way you look at it a little bit. And then stay careful. I don't anticipate myself trading this today for the simple reason it's Friday. And when you're on the day 6 and it's going to be a little tricky to short and a little tricky to long, I'm going to go in with an easier play because Last thing I want to do is be smoking Marlboro Reds, watching Netflix, and doing heavy masturbations on a nice summer day. It's just going to be a little bit weird. Plus, I got guests over, and so he'd probably find it weird anyways. Say hi to Nick. Say hello, Nick.
What's up?
I got one of my students over here hanging out for the week. Card. I like this one. This one may have a chance on it. You know, you're breaking below this big base over here. The issue on this one is going to be, man, I got so much stuff crammed on these windows. The issue on this one's going to be, it's down already 24%. The SSR is going to be on this bad boy. So if the SSR is on this thing, ideally what I want to see is I want to see some type of little spike up at the open, because you're not going to be as shorted on the bid, right? And then you'll have to let this thing re-roll. Guys, the earnings plays, by the way, were hot. Like, we shredded all these at the open yesterday. Watch all these kind of things. The down gappers yesterday were like just smoking hot. You know, you were getting sick range on these things. It was like $15, $20. That's what you want to see on these kind of moves. So just be mindful. We didn't get any good ones today like yesterday, but I think we'll get day twos on some of these things. So hold on here. Let me find this fucking TC1000. Oh, it's freezing on me. There we go. Cool. So some of these like ALGN, I'll watch for day two. You can already see like this thing's kind of opening up a couple bucks. Watch this one for a green to red. If you start to take out like lows from, hey Anshul, how you doing? If you start taking out the lows from yesterday, I think that this one will work pretty good. We had a good shred on it yesterday. This save was awesome too. You had an all-day trender on this thing on the fizzle. Beautiful like breakdown over here. You're already starting to see like it closed down over here. You're already starting to see like a slight gap up on this thing. If I start to see this thing get jammed up into 43, 44 zone, I'll look to re-short this thing. You can't fight this one. Like this thing's a hoe, right? So you got a big breakdown spot right at 45. If this thing pops up a buck or two, we'll look and kind of take this bad boy back down. A lot of people are asking about this SMI. I probably won't trade this today either due to the fact it being Friday. But you do have like a big breakout here. You know, a lot of these small caps are turds, but this one is actually probably like a normal company because it actually, trades. The issues, you already got 1 million shares in volume, so I think that you'll have a chance on this one to play it. You got 1.18 million shares. Usually when you trade like these little small cap stocks, what you want to really see is like you got to have at least pre-market 1 million shares plus. That's the hot ones. It used to not be like that. You could have some that like just move a couple 100,000 shares in the morning and they could like really fly around, but we're not necessarily seeing that anymore. So definitely, if this thing holds up, you could definitely put that on your list. Jay, what's up, baby? Paul, how you doing? Good to see you. OSTK, look, OSTK is going to be tricky. So you're up 4 days in a row on this. But the thing to remember with the OSTK, you can see last time it tried to break, it completely reversed. You had a reversal candle on this. And then yesterday it tried to break again, and it got sold off. So somebody's selling off this thing at this point, and you're like had 4 green days in a row. You got to be real careful to chase strength on this one. You know, like the best type of these kind of trades, like you almost want to let it pull under the VWAP and kind of suck in some shorts and let it grind a little bit. And then when they start to re-ramp the thing, that's like when you want to get this thing going. Otherwise, it's going to be super tricky. So don't chase OSTK on Strength Hunter. You got a good entry on it, which is awesome. So keep selling into those spikes. Let's talk a little bit about some different setups. I got this ACHN on watch for a short. I mean, it's up like months. It's up almost a double in the last 4 days. I think it needs one more push on this thing, though. I got like some levels marked over here of like 44, 440. You know, it may need to even get a little bit higher. It's not a low float stock for like a lot of small caps, so it may need to even push like just a little bit higher. Like you're not going to get that like dollar push to make it go parabolic. It'll start moving like 30, 40 cents a day. So watch these kind of different levels and you'll be good to go. Damn, Brad, you've been flying Spirit? I got a Spirit Airlines credit card that I use for my employees. Like when I fly, I always use the Delta one, and then when my employees fly, like I get them, I get them the miles tickets on Spirit. Don't tell anybody. It's the worst. is the word. So watch this thing, ACHN, 440. I got dust on watch too. We're starting to curls for the girls over here. If this thing closes over the 9 EMA, I think this one may have room to 10. If you think about, like, you know, J-Nut got faded off hard. It can go either way, you know, today. Like, if you start to see you're up about $2, it may go green to red. But if it rolls back red and breaks back under the 9, you're going to have a lot of room to fall. I think that this one will have to be reactive to this one. Like, it's in a bounce spot, but it's only been down 1 day, right? So, like, usually when you have a pullback, you want a multi-day pullback before you try to reload this thing. So it's at a bounce spot, but it's only been 1 red day. So it's a little bit mixed. The SSR is on JNUG today too, so that's why, like, it may start to re-ramp a little bit here before it fades off. Exxon, this was nasty yesterday. It wasn't on an uptick in volume though, which I don't like, but you can see the range on this thing. If I see this thing kind of spike back up into anywhere in the zone, I'll look for a potential re-short on this thing, because if it breaks down this trend line over here, I think that this one's going to have a chance to fall, you know, maybe down to 650. It's had a beautiful run this year, but it looks like that run may be coming to an end. And then put PTC Tesla, both of these are on watch. If they pop, we'll end up kind of refading these things. They're going to need a little bit more of a spike, but both of these had some huge selling on it yesterday, so we'll definitely keep these things going. So I don't know if any of these things are A pluses. You know, yesterday we had a lot more kind of, I would say, A setups. These are going to be a lot more B's and C's, but we'll be reactive to kind of what we see. One thing to remember, like during earnings season, we may run some scans for gappers and stuff, and then you'll start to see other stocks starting to run all over the place. Run like a top gainers, top losers scan 15, 20 minutes into the market. What you'll start to see is like other stocks start to show up and that you just maybe didn't have on the list. This ETH, I mean, this thing is actually decent here. Hey, all day, what's up, baby? What's going on? So something like this actually probably has a chance. It's only 11 million share float. I would add that to the list. Like, I think that one is going to be fine. The issue on this is going to be liquidity. Like, it's only 41,000 shares in volume. I need to see like 500, 600,000 shares before, you know, I'm really ready to kind of hit this thing. Same thing with the HIIQ. I think this one may have a chance too, but it's like gapping up into no man's land. I don't like that kind of play. Like, I want to see these things like free and clear. You know, I'd rather this thing be up here than down here. So that's not a fave of mine. So you know what we got to do? Trade well, trade fun, trade fast. It's Friday. Don't screw up. I'll be in the boom boom room if anybody needs me. All right, later, peoples.